Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Start of June, start of a brand new month of pens in use. My theme for this month is you paid how much? What brought me to this idea is when I show my wife some of the pens, what I hear from her is, "You've paid how much?" So I thought, yeah, let's try that. So I'm not going to say they're expensive pens, but they're pens where I need to question, were they worth the amount of money that I paid for them? I'm not saying I don't like the pens. Every single pen that's coming out this month, I absolutely love. I love using. And if I could, I'd have it inked up all the time. But I just thought it was a way to try and theme around these. So join me now down on the mat and we'll take a look at the 6 pens I'm going to be starting the month with. Welcome down to the table. Let's jump on in and take a look at the pens that I'm going to be using this month. So the first one, this is the Nahvalur Nautilus. Love this colour. This is Pelagia Noctiluca. Chances I've just very much mangled that pronunciation. I like the portals on this. So why is this you paid how much? This was 196 Aussie dollars when I bought it. And to me, not that Nahvalur, they've gone quite upscale in price. Is it worth it? I think so. I mean, it's an ebonite pen. But, you know, when I consider the school kills, I was paying about 80 Aussie dollars. That's more than double the price of a school kill. So that's why, you know, when I came, my wife said, "You paid how much?" Let's write with this. Let's look at drying times. So we go immediate. Fairly wet looking, isn't it? 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Still quite wet there after a minute. Let's do a 2-minute test. After 1 minute, still smudging ever so slightly, isn't it? So this is a very wet combo. I do like the colour though. I think the colour goes quite well with this. I was humming and hawing quite a bit about what ink to put in here. And I thought, yeah, let's give this People's Charter a try. Now, hopefully I can catch this with this ink. You know, it's like a blood type colour, you know, bloody purple or something like that. But hopefully you might be able to see it. There is a nice green sheen with this as well. Looks really nice when I'm writing. Not sure how practical this is going to be though, with it being so wet, so may limit my uses of it during the month. This though is the Nahvalur Nautilus. Pen number 2, TWSBI Draco. This is a pen, I really do think this is overpriced. Again, you can see some of my other videos where I discuss it, so not going to go into too much detail. You know, nice flat top there. Piston filling pen. It's got a little tiny ink window, and in that ink window, the actual part of the ink that you can see is even less. So I personally find this ink window of absolute no use. It would have been better off not being there. That's how little use it is. It's a nice, comfortable pen, fits well in the hand. I like the look of the material. You know, it looks quite nice. It's got a more or less a standard TWSBI nib, so I believe it's a number 5 size. Rose gold, or ever so slightly rose gold. It's nice. As I say, it's just, as a package, I don't think it's worth what I paid. If I'd have paid about $150, that's Aussie dollars, yeah, I would have thought that's more value for what it is. It was $215. Still glad I got it, don't get me wrong, and I still use it quite often. It is a nice pen to use. Just think it was slightly overpriced. Here we've got a TWSBI. And it's the Draco. In here I've got a broad nib. As I say, 215 Aussie dollars. The ink in here by Diamine. And it's mulled wine. Nice ink, nice combination, I think. Very similar in colour to what we're seeing with the People's Charter, but none of that green sheen to it. Drying times, so immediate, 10 seconds. Fairly wet looking, and I messed up there with my immediate. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Again, still very wet at a minute. So another one. 2-minute test. Well, that's even wetter than what we were seeing with the People's Charter, so quite a wet combo. Because I messed up on the immediate, I'm just going to go here and do another immediate. There you are, you can see that going right the way across. First time I've used this as a combo, actually quite like it, but again, not sure, is it going to limit me when I'm doing my note taking? I mean, I do use blotting paper, so I might get away with it. So it's a lovely pen to use, really actually do enjoy using it. And I know I'm being overly critical of it. It's a nice pen, just I think they charge too much for it. I'm going to move the paper up ever so slightly. There we go. So we still see both the pens we've already had. Pen number 3. This is the Sailor ProGear Slim. When this arrived, my wife said, "Is that it?" She was expecting a bigger pen. This, looks very small. Let me fetch in that Draco to put beside it. You can see there, massive difference. Very much like this though. It's called Blue-Green Nebula. So it's like that bluey green material. I'm not sure if it comes over on the camera, but there's like silver sparkles in there, which look like skies in a nebula. And the Blue-Green Nebula, actually named after, I think it is actually named after the Blue-Green Nebula. Not 100% certain on this one. You can see through it, it's translucent. You can see there's the converter. I had to buy the converter separately. So that's something worth bearing in mind. The converter is an extra cost, about an extra $10. It's a small pen, unposted. I can just about get away with using it. It posts very nice, it posts lovely, exceptionally nice to use posted. The section, not too thin. I'd like it a little bit wider, but obviously that would be the normal ProGear model. It's still quite usable for me. And as I said, this one is a cartridge converter. There we go. It's got metal fittings. Shame that that's not acrylic as well, or plastic as well. Maybe then you could have possibly used it as an eyedropper, but it's still nice, still enjoyable. Really pretty pen. It's the second Sailor I've got, but it's the only gold nibbed Sailor I've got. The other Sailor I've got is the Sailor Junior. So here we've got a Sailor ProGear Slim. The nib on here, it's a broad, but it's 14 karat gold. Okay, T, helps if I'm spelled rightly. Not only does it help if I'm spelled rightly, it helps if I can talk rightly. Now the cost of this was 224 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine. And it's Diamine Marine. First time I've had this ink in this pen. Normally I use something like Robert Oster Tranquility or Diamine Aurora Borealis. I like the Aurora Borealis because it's another astronomical name. I want to try this ink because in combination with the next pen, which is a slightly different ink, I want to spend a bit more time comparing these two inks as well as the pens. One thing worth noting, this is a broad 14 karat nib. It's a Japanese broad. Look at it compared with the TWSBI Draco, which was also a broad nib, but that was more European sizing. Big difference. This is more like a medium European nib. Drying times, so we go immediate. A lot drier. 10 seconds. Nearly dry there, isn't it? 30 seconds. 30 seconds and that one's dry. Very big comparison to the others where they were still wet at 2 minutes. This pen and this ink are going to be a good target for my note-taking sessions. And I'll be quite happy refilling this. I might keep the same ink, I might try something different. We'll see how it goes throughout the month. So that's the Sailor ProGear Slim. The next pen is another one that my wife said, is that it? This is the Visconti Van Gogh. This is in the portrait. Absolutely love the colour of this. Let me just turn this around. Very, very pretty colourings. The other thing, hopefully you can see, is the body is actually faceted. I'm hoping the light will catch off these facets as I'm turning it around so you can see. So you've got a real nice textured feel to it. It's not a round barrel. It's made up of lots of these individual facets. You can really feel that. There's a nice bit of weight to the pen. Not overly heavy, but you can definitely feel it in your hand. The cap pulls off. Now this is a magnetic cap, so what I'm going to do is just balance it, hopefully like that, and move it ever so gently forward. Eventually the magnet will catch and then click, pulls the cap on. Not sure what I feel about that. It's nice, but problem with that, it limits putting it in my shirt pocket. I couldn't put it in my shirt pocket. Another cartridge converter. There we go. Came with the cartridge converter this time. That's Visconti branded. The nib. This is a small nib. It's also a steel nib. I think this is maybe number 5 size. Maybe even could be a bit smaller than that. Doesn't really matter. I mean, size doesn't matter in this case because the quality of the writing, that's what does matter. And it is quite nice. I can get away with using this unposted. It will post. There we are, nice. I just worry when I'm posting it if I'm going to damage this material. So I always use this unposted. So this is a Visconti Van Gogh. With a broad nib. I said it's a steel nib. The price of this was $343. That's why my wife was questioning it, because for $343 she expected more. I can see the quality of the material there. I can understand why this is the price it is. Is it cheap? Absolutely not. It's very expensive. Is it good value? Yeah, it's not too bad. Don't know if I'd buy another one though. The ink, also by Diamine. This time it's Aqua Lagoon. And this is what I was saying about the two inks. So I want to look at this ink side by side with the Diamine Marine. So the Marine got more of a green tone to it, whereas the Aqua Lagoon more of a turquoisey tone. Drying times. So we go immediate. Looks a bit wetter than what we were seeing with Marine. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Smudging ever so slightly still, not worth doing a 1 minute test. So again, like the Marine, a quite fast drying combo. So again, it's a pen, hopefully will be of good use for my note taking sessions. So this is the Visconti Van Gogh. Just move this up ever so slightly. There we are. We've got the grids for the bottom two now. Pen number 5, Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. When this arrived, my wife's reaction was, okay. Again, it's a lot of money. It's an awful lot of money for what it is. Very nice though. This is dark Hawaii. And I'm turning it around just so you can see the colours of it. I like that, although it's a numbered version, you don't really have a limited version. So this was pen number 288. One thing I've never been able to find out, is this 288 in this size and colour, or is it 288 in the Momento Zero Grande range? That would be interesting to find out. Take off the cap. Steel nib, number 6 size nib, made for them by Yoho. I really like this section. I find that so comfortable. One of the most comfortable sections that I've got. Really enjoy using this. I believe they've moved away from using this shape, which is such a shame because I think this is just so nice. Nice fit in my hand, unposted. Another one, it will post. Doesn't post, it's still a bit wobbly, but it's more than usable unposted. Piston filling pen. One downside, no ink window. And the number of times I've been using this pen and I've been in the middle of a meeting or middle of a note-taking session, it's just stopped writing because it's out of ink, because I don't know the ink level. That's the biggest drawback to this pen for me. So we've got here a Leonardo. I'm going to put MZ for Momento Zero. Grande. This has got a medium nib. I bought this fairly early on in my resurgence of fountain pen collecting. No, it's not really collecting, usage maybe. And I got a medium because I wasn't sure if I'd like the broads at the time. That was before I got into broad nibs. Price for this was 377 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Dominant Industry. And it's called Winter Wood. Nice brown ink, fairly dark, and to me there's some hints of green in it as well. So I can see where it's getting the name Winter Wood. It's got that darkness there of the bark of a tree, but it's also got the green, not so much of leaves, but of like moss and stuff that are growing on the bark. Really quite interesting. Drying times, so we go immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. One minute, nice and dry. Really like this pen, and although the majority of the body is blue, we have got these hints of brown, which is why I do occasionally use a brown ink in here. Very nice. So that's the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. One more pen. It's the most expensive pen I have. Again, when my wife saw this, it was how much? It just looks like a classic normal pen. This is the Pilot Custom 823. Vacuum filling pen. Hopefully you can see there the bit of ink in the mechanism. Just there. This one might run out during the month, in which case it will be filled again. I'm going to use a different ink in it than when I refill it. I've got it down to 2. I've either got Robert Oster Cafe Crema, or I might try Diamine Tobacco Sunburst. Not sure which one yet. I will try. This pen, gold nibbed. It's a Pilot number 15 size gold nib, 14 carat. I do believe this is roughly the same size as a number 6 nib, but obviously Pilot, they use their own sizings. Nice pen to hold. Section is nice, not too small, not too big, nice and comfortable. The way it's designed there, it doesn't dig in. I always keep this open. If I go out anywhere, yes, I'll close it because it works a shut-off valve, so that would stop the excess ink in the body flowing into the section if there was an issue. Normally I'm using this at home, so I just tend to leave it open. Then I don't have to remember to open it. I have had a few occasions where it's been closed and I've been writing away and it stops writing, and then I start cursing the pen and realise it was a Gary problem, not a pen problem. Very nice pen, very nice to use. So we've got a Pilot Custom 823 with broad 14 carat nib. This nib is a lot broader than what we see with the Sailor ProGear Slim with that broad nib. This is more like I expect to see from some of my other broad nibs from European manufacturers. I say this is my most expensive pen. I managed to get it for 394 Aussie dollars. The ink It's a dominant industry. Lungo. So slightly different ink than what we were seeing in the Momento Zero. Again, deliberately, I'm using two dominant industry inks because I want to do a little bit of a comparison between them. I may actually do that as a separate video, whereas I don't plan to do that with the Diamine Marine and Aqua Lagoon. Be interesting, I think, to compare them, the two. But to do that, I also need to get them both into the same pen, which I currently haven't done. So that's something, it'll be quite a while in the future. Drying times, there's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Nice and dry there at 1 minute. It's another nice combo. I do like the way that this ink looks when we're using it in this pen. So this is the Pilot Custom 823. Let me just fetch this down so we can get all 6 entries in the camera. So the pens I'm going to be using this month. Got the Nahvalur Nautilus with Pure Pens People's Charter. The TWSBI Draco with Diamine Mulled Wine. The Sailor ProGear Slim with Diamine Marine. The Visconti Van Gogh with Diamine Aqua Lagoon. The Leonardo Momento Zero Grande with Dominant Industry Winter Wood. And then the Pilot Custom 823 and Dominant Industry Lungo. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got a theme for this month for the pens you're going to be using? What pens are you going to be using? Please drop in the comments down below. I love seeing the lists of what other people are using, the pens and the inks, because they let me add them really to my ever-growing list of pens I'd like to get in the future. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.